Hi everybody, welcome to Glitter Fox Studios. My name is Brett and this video lesson today is going to be about how to maximize our practice sessions. So the first topic we're going to talk about today is scheduling. The second is structure, what we do in our practice session, and then we're going to talk about a few little quick principles that I think will help. And this lesson is targeted at kind of beginner level instrumentalists too. There's nothing to say that the ideas and principles won't be helpful for intermediate level and advanced level students as well. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is our schedule. So I found it very beneficial for my students. I have a scorecard, so I have a points list. So on the scorecard, I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so with new students, I circle certain days of the week, and I advise that a minimum effective amount of practice would be 4 days a week for a minimum of 10 minutes. And I always suggest that that's the minimum. You can obviously do more. So what I've done with those students is I've circled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe Sunday are the days that we're going to practice. So they know they have an accountability that then they have to practice on those days. So I find that that is useful. The next thing we're going to talk about is structure. So the structure of our practice session, what we do in our practice session, is also going to impact the amount of productivity and progress that we're going to have. I've noticed that some students do really well with 10 minutes of practice every day, and I know some students that don't progress as quick with 10 minutes a day. So they're obviously doing things differently. So I think the first idea, or the first thing when we're starting to do some structural thinking about what we're going to do in our practice session, is to start off with our technical exercises. These are generally the least fun part of our practice, so I advise doing them first to get them out of the way. Okay, so a technique might be the spider game. It could be some drumming rudiments. It could be some scales. It could be something. So the idea behind these technical exercises is to warm up our fingers and warm up our bodies and get used to our instruments again. So I recommend doing those first. So if you've got 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you might spend 5 minutes working on a technique, or you might spend 10 minutes working on a technique, depending on how much time that you're able to practice and also how long you can focus on this task. The second thing I would then start to work on is the pieces of music that you're working on, that you're either preparing to perform, or it might be some music that you're learning out of a book. And so I would make sure that we're working on those parts. And how we structure that part is that I would say, play all of the things that you've learned so far, then go back and identify the bits and pieces that you need to work on, play those parts. I'm going to come back a little bit more to this later on. Play those parts and then come back to at the end of your practice session and then complete the parts that you've learned so far, or the whole song at the end, all the way through. So the other thing that I would encourage you to put into your practice session is the thing that you like most about learning your instrument. Add in some sort of element of fun. So for me, that would be picking up my guitar and doing some improvising. It could be playing your favorite song. It could be working on or improvising or doing a solo. It could be doing a technique exercises. Some people like that most as well. So do something that's fun. Do something that you enjoy doing as well. That could be at the beginning. It could be at the end. It could be in the middle. That is something that you would have to work out for yourself. But include something that is fun. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is principles and strategies for practice. So the first thing we're going to talk about is slow or small. So when I was talking about learning our pieces, I said play the example, or play whatever you've learned so far from start to finish. Then identify or pick out bits and pieces that you need to work on. So the bits that you need to work on are the weakest links in a piece of music. So they're the things that we're not the best at. So when we're practicing something, we want to practice those parts slowly or small. So this means that we can then play through all of the notes cleanly and clearly, or making sure we've got all our sticking in the right order, to make sure that that piece of music, we're practicing it as well as we can really slowly. Because when we speed it up, obviously the quality is going to change. So we want to make sure that when we're practicing something, we're practicing a really small thing, which might be 2 or 3 notes. It might be left, left, right, 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 left, or it could be ABC, or it could be just strumming. So we're making whatever the thing that is most challenging into small bite-sized pieces so we can play it as easily as possible. So that is slow or small. The second principle we're going to talk about is called mini goals. So mini goals is an idea that I've come up with, but it's something that we can achieve in our practice session. So I know some students are really good at playing something quite well so from either start to finish. So the idea of a mini goal is for everyone, and it's going to change depending on what the piece of music is or the exercise. So a mini goal would be, say for instance, we've got to play an example that is 15 seconds long, or it's 15 notes, or it's 15 chords, or it's 15 strumming ideas, or 15 bars. Very rarely would it be 15 bars, it'd probably be 16 or something like that. But the idea is we want to set a goal, for instance, of playing that task through 4 times cleanly and clearly. So as well as we can at the level that we've got it at. So if it takes 15 times in order to get those 4 times, that's how many times we have to play it. If it takes 30 times, that's how many times we have to play it. So the object or the idea of these mini goals is to play something through as many times as it takes to get it smooth, clean, clear, flowing. Because some people will be able to do that in 4 goes if it's to get 4 times. Some people might get it in 8 goes. So we have to adjust depending on, because if it takes 100 goes, we're going to be there forever and it's going to be quite frustrating. So you want to make sure that you're setting your goals that are relevant. So with my students, if it's an example and they've learned the first line of a piece of music, I'm going to set them a goal if they've played it a few times and they can get it through once. Their practice aim for each practice session that week is to play it through 4 times cleanly and clearly in the first day. And if they get that within sort of 5 to 10 goes, that's a pretty good example of a mini goal. If they're doing it first go 4, no problems, then we need to make that slightly bigger. So we need to make it a little bit more challenging. So there might be the first 2 lines, or the first line and then the second 2 bars. So that is what I call mini goals. Cool. If you have any questions, you can email me at brett@glitterfoxstudios.com.au if you've got a question. If you like this video, please share it. And if you also like the other videos in my channel, please press subscribe. Until next time, all the best with your playing. Thank you.